camping trip turns into a nightmare on a haunted beach. A horror story. Summer is the season most young people cherish, eager to embrace life and discover beautiful places filled with nature's allure. Yet not all picturesque locations live up to their expectations. Some, despite their beauty, can be haunted, their inhabitants unwelcoming to strangers. This is precisely what befalls the protagonists of our story today, as their desire for a perfect summer holiday plunges them into one of the most terrifying experiences of their lives. Before we delve into our tale, I want to extend my gratitude to everyone who interacts with our videos. Your engagement is crucial for us to reach new audiences and grow the channel. So please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, it means a lot to me, and leave a lovely comment. And now, with the blessings of God, let's begin the story. The beginning. We were three inseparable friends, myself, Soufiane, and my two closest pals, Youssef and Murad. We had grown up together, living a normal life in the same neighborhood. My family was slightly more comfortable financially than theirs, but this was never an obstacle. They were well-mannered lads, which convinced my parents to accept them as my friends. As we grew older, days turned into years, and we found ourselves studying together. However, fate had a different plan. Both Youssef and Murad failed their first year of high school, while I succeeded. They struggled to balance work and studies, leading to a lack of focus that year and their subsequent failure. I, on the other hand, passed and earned my baccalaureate degree before them. They continued to strive for their diplomas, and it was during this year, their baccalaureate year, that the events of our story unfolded. While they were studying for their baccalaureate, I was in my first year of university. Youssef and Murad, upon reaching their final year of high school, truly pulled themselves together. They wanted to make their parents proud and to achieve something for themselves. They cut down on their working hours and focused more intensely on their studies. I was there for them, trying to help in any way I could. Thankfully, I was quite good at academics, so I assisted them with core subjects like mathematics, physics, and sciences. The two friends fought hard, driven by enthusiasm, and achieved excellent grades in the first semester. That same year, in my first semester of university, studying economics, I also did well. We thought, why don't we use this break to relax a bit and go camping? And indeed, we had a fantastic holiday. We were used to camping together, so it was a week of pure enjoyment. We returned to our studies with renewed vigor and energy, as their sole aim that year was the baccalaureate, nothing else. I had promised them that if they got their baccalaureate that year, we would go on the best holiday and have an amazing camping trip. This was our agreement. The baccalaureate surprise days passed, and the moment of truth arrived, the final exams. The two friends put their trust in God, took their national exams, finished everything, and then awaited the decisive day, results day. When the day arrived, I called Youssef and asked, "What did you do?" As I spoke to him, he began to mumble into the phone saying, "I didn't do anything." Honestly, his answer shocked me, as both friends had prepared so well for everything. To be frank, I felt genuinely sad. I told him, "Let's meet at the cafe and see what Murad did too. Then we'll figure things out." Headed to the cafe, feeling depressed, my spirits crushed, not myself at all. When I arrived, I found them both sitting silently. I greeted them, and they returned my greeting coldly, clearly upset about failing. I asked Murad the same question. "What did you do?" He gave me the same answer as Youssef. At that point, I felt a surge of frustration and anger, as I hadn't wanted this for them after all their hard work. The prank revealed. I decided to play the role of a coach, saying, "Guys, don't be disheartened. It wasn't meant to be for you to pass the regular session. The retake session is coming up. Pull yourselves together, fight for it, be strong, and God willing, you'll get it with a good score in the retake. Every delay has its benefits, and we never know what God has planned for us." I kept talking to them, motivating them, trying to lift their spirits and instill hope. At one point, I noticed Murad trying to stifle a laugh. I didn't understand. I asked him, "What's wrong, mate? Is what I'm saying funny?" Then Youssef chimed in, laughing, and said, "Do you really believe we failed the baccalaureate? We've been working hard all year. There's no way we'd fail now." I couldn't accept the prank they played on me. I told them, "No guys, this isn't funny at all. I was sincere and I was genuinely worried about you, and you're just laughing? That's not cool." Honestly, I felt a strong sense of disappointment at their behavior, to the point where I got up from the table and started to leave. Apology and celebration. My two friends scrambled after me, trying to get me to sit back down. They pleaded, "Soufiane, mate, we just wanted to pull a prank on you." I told them, "No guys, this isn't a prank or anything." They kept apologizing, realizing they had truly messed up with me. But even then, I couldn't do much. I accepted their prank. I congratulated them on passing their baccalaureate, and we celebrated together. The next day, we threw a big party with all our friends from the neighborhood. We laughed, had fun, and enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. Planning the trip. After that, I had my makeup exams at university, so I went to focus on my modules to pass them. My two friends found work and dedicated themselves to it, earning money. They worked with a supplier, loading and unloading goods for shops. In short, they were working hard and toiling. They desperately needed to save money, as life is tough, and to cover their expenses, they had to work. This was the life of my two friends. As for me, I don't know if I was lucky or unlucky, but my father never allowed me to work. He would always say, "Focus on one thing, your studies. As for work and money, I'll give you whatever you want until you finish your education, then you can work as much as you like." However, despite this, I noticed that the work my friends did made them more experienced and resilient, capable of handling various situations. Unlike me, who couldn't negotiate with people, interact with them, or even bargain for something I wanted to buy. But they, on the other hand, learned all of this from the streets and from work. Anyway, my two friends were working hard, and I was focused on my studies to pass. In the evenings, we would meet up, go out for a walk, or relax at the cafe. Days passed, about 20 days to a month. I finished my modules, and my friends were also comfortable with their work. The unexpected approval and the anticipated journey. One day, as we were sitting in our usual cafe, Youssef spoke up and said, "What's up, guys? Are we going to spend the whole summer like this? No travel, no nothing? Didn't you tell us at the beginning of the year that if we passed, we'd go on the best trip this summer?" I replied, "Yes, I did say that to you both, but now you've gone to work, so how are we going to do it?" Murad then spoke, saying, "Oh man, what work? Are we going to spend our entire baccalaureate holiday working? We've worked enough, that's good. For the rest of the holiday, let's go for a bit of a change of scenery." I replied to them, "Yes, if you want to stop working, I'm with you. I'll go see my father and ask him for his car, and then we can enjoy ourselves and go wherever you want. What do you think, guys?" They told me, "Okay, we're with you. Just get us Dad's car, and we'll go talk to the guy we work for to see if he can find some other guys to work for him. Then we can travel at our leisure." The plan takes a turn. The next morning, before my father left, I approached him and said, "Good morning, Dad. You know, my friends got their baccalaureate this year, and we were hoping you'd let us borrow your car to go on a trip and get a change of scenery." My father looked at me, then walked out the door without saying a word. I was baffled. Why didn't he say anything? Not yes, not no. And what was I going to tell my friends who were counting on me? Anyway, my father left and disappeared, and I didn't know where he went. I had to deliver the news to my friends that evening. I had to give them an answer. So I spent the whole day wondering what to tell them. Should I tell them my father wouldn't give us the car, making me look bad and ungrateful, especially since he never usually withheld it from me and always let me drive it freely? Evening came, and I went to the cafe first, sat at a table, and held my head in my hands, lost in thought. I was racking my brain, trying to figure out how to get a car for my friends, especially since I had given them my word. Even if I suggested we travel by public transport, we wouldn't have the freedom to stop wherever we wanted and camp in the places we preferred. Just as I was deep in thought, my friends appeared, lively and cheerful. They had settled everything with the man they worked for, who was now looking for new workers. He had paid them, and everything was in order. They found me sitting, looking troubled, wondering what to do and how to find a solution. They asked me, "What's wrong, old man? Why are you so troubled? Is everything all right?" I told them, "Guys, I can't hide anything from you. I brought up the car with Dad, and he just ignored me and left the house. He didn't answer me either way." When my friends heard this, they both fell silent. We remained quiet for a moment, all of us, but each one was thinking of a solution. A journey without a plan. At one point, Youssef spoke up and said, "You know what? Laugh, have fun, and be optimistic, and good will come. Even if we don't have the car, it's not a problem. We can still have an amazing trip without it. How many people travel with just a large backpack on their backs and go camping in the best places and have the best experiences? Why can't we do the same?" And indeed, Youssef's words changed our mood. It's true, things don't always go the way we want them to. Sometimes you plan and plan until you're exhausted, but nothing you've planned works out, and in the end, what God has ordained happens, and it turns out to be 100 times better than what you planned. So, that was it. My friends and I agreed that we would go on a trip, make do with what we had, and enjoy ourselves and live our lives. We planned everything. The final approval and the start of the adventure. After that, I went back home, slept, and woke up the next morning. I met my father and greeted him with a rather cold "Peace be upon you," as I was still a bit annoyed about what happened yesterday. He noticed my demeanor and looked at me asking, "What's wrong? Is something up?" I replied, "Nothing." He said, "No, there's something. You're upset about yesterday when I didn't answer you about the car." At that moment, I had an urgent matter with the company I work for, and I wasn't sure if they would give me leave or if they would need me to work more. But now, it's official. There's no more work, and you can take the car and travel with it. I was so happy. I hadn't expected to hear that. I said to him, "Are you serious?" He said, "Are we playing games here? It's a simple matter." I said, "May God protect you, Dad." Immediately, I called Youssef and told him, "You were absolutely right, brother. One should always remain optimistic." Youssef didn't understand a thing. He asked, "What happened?" I told him, "Dad finally let us have the car. Tell Murad and let's meet at the cafe." Indeed, my friends and I met at the cafe. We quickly sat down and started discussing what we could do on this outing. We kept brainstorming plans until we finally agreed on one thing. The trip wouldn't be 100% planned. We would only arrange the cities and places we would visit, leaving the rest to unfold spontaneously. We lived in the north, so our agreement was to head south. There, we knew there were beautiful, lesser-known places, and they were also cheaper for rent and living expenses. And that's exactly what we did. We bought everything we'd need. First and foremost, a tent. We got a large 3-person tent, a small camping gas stove, some cooking utensils, and a large power bank. We prepared everything. The next morning, I took my dad's car, picked up my friends, and the excitement began. We hit the road, headed to the gas station, filled up, and got on the highway. It was the happiest day of that summer because, finally, our dream had come true and our journey was beginning. The first stop, a pleasant beginning. We drove for about 4 hours until we reached a small coastal town, one of those charming seaside cities with moderate weather and everything you could wish for. As for food, it had all kinds of fish. So we decided to spend some pleasant time in this town. We looked for a place to stay, searching until we found a good, comfortable studio with a kitchen for cooking and everything else we needed. We settled in that town and spent a truly unforgettable time there. We played, laughed, ate, and did everything we could think of in the town. We bought souvenirs for our families. After 2 days in that town, we got back in the car and continued our journey. We camped again by a beach between that town and the next, which was practically the gateway to the desert. The next day, we continued our journey and reached the city I mentioned, the last city before entering the south. It was a somewhat large city, so we decided not to rent a place there. We said, "Let's pass this city and go a little further. There are beautiful beaches out there. Let's find one and camp. The beginning of the strange. We kept driving until we reached a beach around sunset. We unloaded our gear, set up the tent, and lit a fire. Reckless Youssef went for a swim as the sun dipped below the horizon. We cooked our dinner, ate, and then went into the tent to sleep, safe and sound. We woke up the next morning feeling energized, as if we hadn't traveled far the day before. We had breakfast, then went to play soccer on the beach. We swam and enjoyed the water immensely. When we got bored, we decided to continue our journey and explore another place. The mysterious warning. And indeed, that's what happened. We kept moving from one beach to another until one day, as usual, we hit the road. But this time, the area we were in became somewhat desolate, with fewer people around. We mostly encountered locals, the native inhabitants of the area, and rarely someone camping. We would only meet those who sought solitude and nature, far from crowds. Occasionally, we'd encounter foreign tourists in their caravans exploring Morocco. That day, we drove slowly, discovering the places and beaches along the way. We went from village to village until around 6 p.m. We reached a small village on the coast. Its beach was incredibly beautiful. The sunset there was breathtaking, mashallah. The beach itself was vast, wide enough for horses to gallop, with half of it covered in small stones and the other half in ordinary sand. It was a beach with an unreal view and shape, yet at the same time, it was unknown. My friends and I decided to spend the night and camp on that beach. We went and set up the tent. A little later, an elderly man approached us. "Peace be upon you," he said, "and upon you be peace." He asked us, "What are you doing, guys?" We told him, "We're camping." He said, "I'm the Mokadem, local authority of this place, and camping is forbidden here." Oh, forbidden. Nights of terror. We continued to negotiate with the Mokadem, and finally he was kind enough to allow us to stay after he photographed our national ID cards. The Mokadem went on his way, and we began to prepare for our overnight stay. I started preparing tea for my friends. Youssef lit a charcoal fire and began grilling fish for us, while Murad sat on a chair, scrolling through his phone and playing games. We continued like this, preparing everything until we were done. We set up a place to have dinner, sat down, and began eating, laughing, and chatting. In short, we were having a great time. Darkness had fallen, and we could only hear the sound of the ocean and see our blazing campfire. We continued our dinner like this until, at one point, we heard footsteps coming from the stony side of the beach, the side with the rocks. It struck us as strange. Who would be coming from this direction, knowing that the area was rocky and the darkness was absolute? On the other side, there was only the sea. Perhaps there was a hidden path there, but when we set up our camp, all we could see from the direction of the sound was the ocean. The unexpected guests. We kept hearing the sound of footsteps for a long time, gradually getting closer. The footsteps became distinctly audible. We were sitting around the fire, eating dinner, when we began to see figures approaching us. They kept coming closer and closer, and we could hear them talking and laughing amongst themselves until they reached us. We discovered that they were just young lads from the local area. After they reached us, they greeted us and asked where we were from. We told them, "We're from the north, and we came camping on a journey. We went from city to city, village to village, until we entered this place in the desert. Our goal is to enjoy ourselves and discover places we've never seen before." One of the boys laughed and told us, "You've come to the right place. Here you will see things you've never seen before." Another boy named Al-Arabi spoke up and said, "Guys, if you want a real beach experience, there's a place a bit far from here, but since you have a car, you can reach it tomorrow. It's about 120 kilometers away. That place is called Ras Al Raml, Sandhead, and it has an incredible beach, rarely visited by anyone. So you'll have it all to yourselves and truly enjoy it. But you should know that the sea there sometimes speaks." The Ras Al Raml warning. I didn't understand. I asked him, "What do you mean, the sea sometimes speaks?" He told me, The sea in that place is haunted, and if you go and camp there, you might hear some voices or something at night. If you do, just pretend you didn't hear anything and don't be afraid." After hearing this, my friends and I fell silent. I felt a strange sensation, and these boys seemed a bit off, like they were under the influence of something. But despite that, my curiosity was piqued. I asked him, "Where is this place located? Do you have any pictures of it on your phone so I can see it?" He replied, "Just search for it on Google Maps and zoom in, it will show up." He then added, "We were just there a few days ago," and he pulled out his phone and started showing me pictures. Indeed, the place was incredibly beautiful and looked worth camping in. The beginning of the nightmare. I asked the boy, "Now honestly, is it safe to camp there or is there any danger?" He said, "No, we're just joking with you. It's true that they say that beach is haunted, and sometimes you hear things at night, but it's normal. We camped there and nothing happened." And here, after seeing the beautiful beach he showed me in the picture, I thought to myself, it's impossible for us to leave without seeing that place. I asked him, "Could you describe the way so that even if we search on maps, we can find it quickly?" He started describing it. "Okay, tomorrow morning, when you get on the main road, go straight, and the first dirt road you find on your right, turn onto it. You'll keep going on that dirt road for a long time until you find yourselves in this place I showed you in the picture. But the place is a bit far, and the road to it is difficult, so take food and everything you'll need, because there's nothing there, just open desert." The first terrifying night. That was it. The three of us, after finishing our conversation with them, went our separate ways. My friends and I spent our night there. In the morning, we packed our things and took the road he described to us. We kept driving on the road for a long time until we found that dirt road on the right. We took that dirt road that leads to the place they told us was called Ras Al Raml. We entered it and kept driving and driving for a long time at a slow speed because the road was all dirt, full of potholes, and even more than that, it had a lot of sand as the place was desert. Anyway, we drove for the first hour, then the second, but the place still hadn't appeared and the road was still long. However, we had the advantage that we weren't in a hurry. We could even spend the night on the road and continue the next day at our leisure, no problem. So we kept driving until we reached a place full of sand. The road in that spot had a lot of sand. I don't know what happened, but our tire got stuck in a sandy hole, and the wheel got trapped there. It wouldn't come out. Oh dear, this is not a good start. The two of us got out and kept pushing. We tried everything. We struggled with it, sweating and exhausted. Finally, with great difficulty, it came out of that hole, but it had delayed us from our destination, and it was getting very late, so we had no choice but to spend the night somewhere there. And there was nothing in the place, just deserts. You wouldn't hear a human sound. Darkness fell upon us there. We were almost close to our destination, but with the darkness, we decided to camp there until morning and continue at our leisure without problems.